Ooh.
I guess it's October. Let's do it. Earl's already spooking us. Hey, welcome to Live Coding Happy Hour. This is the show where we take you through, well, normally we take you through a demo, and we honestly don't know what we're doing because we're trying things out for the first time or learning as we go, but this is not such a case. We have a special episode because this is being recorded on September 30th, and tomorrow is October 1st, which means it's the beginning of Hacktoberfest, as you can guess from the title of this show. If you haven't, look down below. It's right there. It says Hacktoberfest, September 30th. You get the idea. Let's go around and do some introductions, and then we'll tell you what we're drinking, and then we'll tell you what we're doing. So, beginning with Earl.
Hello, everyone. I am Earl Duque, and today I am your ghost host. Lauren?
Hi, everybody.
Ghost host with the most?
Well, what's the ghost host the most drinking today as well?
Not yet. Not yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You didn't listen to the agenda.
I'm sorry. My name is you said introduction and drinks, but I'll move on. My name is Lauren McManaman. Nice to meet y'all. Back up to you.
Hey, my name is Chuck Tomasi, Senior Developer Advocate at ServiceNow. Good to see everybody again. I see you out there. I see you right there. Look at the camera. All right. Going around on what we're drinking today.
I'm boring this week. I've been dealing with a stomach bug, so I'm drinking 7-Up today to try to help settle it a little bit. No,
Okay.
Not my normal whiskey or hard liquor or anything today. Just 7-Up.
Smart man. Smart man. Lauren?
I'm also being boring today. I'm getting a head start on Sober October because I'm doing a trip to New York later in the month that I would like to drink for. So Sober October started early for me.
I'm going out with a bang because my son-in-law got me a couple of special beers. A few days ago, I drank a Lithuanian brown ale. This is you can't really read it. It's kind of a teal colored thing. It's messing with my green screen, but it's Zwiec, or Zwiec, I think. It's ZYWIEC, which is oddly make a pretty good password if you ask me. It is a session IPA from 2018, and I am going to go celebrate the last day of not sober September to go into sober October. So I got my big old glass mug that I got from back. No, I didn't get it from back there. That's a fake image, but we shall see. It is a nice golden color. Not too dark, not too light. We'll see how it goes. And that is a big glass of beer. Not all over.
I was like, that's dangerously
not
close
all
to
over the equipment. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the technology. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You think I'd learn? It wouldn't be the first piece of equipment I've destroyed with a beer. Ask Craig Stepp sometime. All right. Earl, what are we up to today?
Hacktoberfest. Okay, we launched this officially yesterday, and today's the first day that you can actually contribute to Hacktoberfest. But what is Hacktoberfest? What are we talking about? What are we building? To get started, if you don't know anything about Hacktoberfest, we're going to explain it right here. And if you want to read along, you can go to devlink.sn/Hacktoberfest. And we have a nice blog posted about Hacktoberfest. Let me do a little bit.
I think you had that at the ready, man. He's already got one baked in the oven. Look at this.
Yeah, so in Hacktoberfest, it's basically a celebration of source control and collaboration, all via this technology called Git. And to simplify it, Git is a way for you to track changes and updates and an entire life cycle of software, applications, etc., across many different people. and it's a way for people to be able to know what has exactly happened in the development of any of your repositories of information. And so in October, there is a company called DigitalOcean, and they create a event called Hacktoberfest, and they encourage people to go on GitHub to basically contribute to open source projects out there in the wild. ServiceNow jumps onto that bandwagon and says, "Hey, why don't we encourage all of our developers into doing Hacktoberfest stuff? And if you complete it, doing the things that you already know how to do in ServiceNow, or learning some new things in ServiceNow, then might as well get credit for it while you're doing Hacktoberfest." The cool thing about that is if you complete the challenge, which is actually not that hard to complete as long as you actually jump in, you get bragging rights, you get these cool online digital awards, you get these badges on some of your on some of the developer community uh, uh, websites and social websites, and you also get T-shirts and a ton of stickers too. So I'm wearing my, which year is this? 2019 T-shirt, but I got it for the last 3 years, and this will be my fourth T-shirt I'm going for. Uh, I think I've already qualified for it. I've already submitted my complete pull requests, and it takes a week for it to bake in. But I wasn't the first one, so shout out to Adam, Wizzo Floyd, that actually beat me to the punch and submitted all of their pull requests before I got mine in. So kudos to Adam. But I'm gonna try to walk through all. Is that my dog's barking? I'm going to try to walk through the process so that you all can follow along and understand how exactly you can participate.
It's not that bad. Keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
So inside the devlink.sn/Hacktoberfest blog, you can read through what I just talked about. It says if you need help, or if you want to join the community that's doing ServiceNow Hacktoberfest, you can find us here. But also a video link to how to participate in 3 minutes. It's a 3-minute long video of describing the process, a written out process for how it is, a link to this episode if you're watching this in the blog, and then all the available projects. But let's take a step back and let's start from the beginning. If you're brand new to Hacktoberfest, it's easy to participate. We're trying to make it really easy for you to participate. So jump on in. It's really fun. When you start, make sure you have a GitHub account. So github.com, sign up there if you don't already have one. Next, go to hacktoberfest.com and sign up with your GitHub account so that they get linked up together. And then the next step is to go to the blog to take a look at all the available projects, because you're going to want to pick one or more projects that you're going to want to contribute to. The ones I'm going to highlight today, I'm going to highlight a few of them right now, and then I'm going to jump into one to show you how I'm going to contribute live and actually do a full contribution during this show. Hopefully. That's always like the tagline to everything we do, right? Hopefully we can do it.
Theoretically, it'll work.
Yeah. I'm active doing this, so if you see comments in the chat, let me know so I can, if we need to divert.
Yeah, you bet.
Yes. So I'm gonna isolate my screen now. All right.
Here's one that's kind of sad. Paige says there's still no plant app.
Paige says this like every year, and she doesn't make she doesn't start the plant app and share it out. And so, whose fault is that, Paige?
Not between her and Gabby. We'd have that thing done by now.
Wait, I'm confused. What does the plant app refer to? I don't understand.
In the Slack community, there is a channel called Plants, and it's all the people that love having plants inside their office. And
that's cute.
This would be a way to take care of
Paige is proposing we make a plant app to track everyone's plants. But
there you go.
Be the change you want to be in the world, Paige.
Ashutosh also said, I missed it. He said, is there any analysis on last year's contribution?
Yes. So if you go to, I can't remember the link, but if you go in the blog back to the 2022 Hacktoberfest retrospect, the numbers were wild. We had hundreds of pull requests, like 700% more participants than we ever had. The fact that we were able to lower the barrier to entry is what got everybody to be able to participate. And that's our goal, because we want people to start understanding these technologies more and more and get something out of it. So the ones I want to highlight right now are SNDev Slacker bot. So if you're on the Slack community, there is a bot there that handles a lot of fun stuff. And I've set up the repository so that the moment you have a pull request merged into the production app, which I'll talk in detail what that means later if that was confusing to you. But the moment you get approved, your work gets approved, it actually goes live automatically now, and the Slack community benefits from your work immediately, and the stuff you contribute is already it automatically goes active, which is really cool. The next one I want to highlight is this recipes app, hosted by our friends over at the Next Experience team. If you contribute to this one, you can either add functionality to this little recipes Next Experience portal, or you can just submit a recipe with a picture and the directions and ingredients list, and save it as metadata, and you can include that in your app, and we'll be happy to accept that into the repository as a full pull request. That's another nice, easy, low barrier to entry to go there. And if you go there, you'll see the specific instructions on how to do that. Code snippets I want to highlight real quick, because this is the one that a lot of people jumped on last year. And if I go to this, it should say, 2,200 commits, 81 contributors to this repository. It's a very, very active, really detailed, lots of things in it repository. This is probably one of the lowest barrier to entry repositories that we have. But this year, I want to emphasize the first two a little bit more, just so that we can get. I want people to, if you did code snippets last year, my challenge to you this year is to basically try to go for quality instead of quantity necessarily. Try to do a little bit more meatier of pull requests, so that you really get into understanding how your pulls affect an actual working application. So that's my challenge to you all, if you're listening to this and you were a veteran from last year. And then we have also a bunch of other applications that you could participate in. Some of them you'll recognize from last year. Some of them are still getting prepared, so you can come back if you want to see additional projects as we come up with and set up more things you can participate in. Okay, I'm gonna start showing how we get set up with the Slacker bot on SNDev Slack. When you get to this link, go ahead and click on it, and you'll see the repository for it. Let me zoom in. So to get started, once you're looking at the project that you want to work on, the first thing you want to do is read through the README file. Read through the first page that you see all the different things you can potentially do and work on. And then if you want to work on this one, click on the contributing link, and it'll have detailed requirements on how to actually contribute to this project, because just doing random stuff on a project doesn't mean collaboration. You should actually be following some guidelines and following some recommendations, because if you don't follow those things, you could potentially break someone's application. You can break production. You can break people's code base. And so follow these instructions. On every project has these two files, README and contributing. So make sure to follow along there, and make sure you're paying attention to those things. They also have a lot of cool, helpful stuff, like what can you do within the API? What are special things that you have access to? Templates, different ways to contribute, etc. All right, let's back up a little bit. Now that I'm saying I want to participate in this project, I want to add some functionality to the Slacker bot. The next thing you do is click on Fork. Fork will initiate create a new fork, and you can leave things as default if you want, and then just say create fork, and you'll look up here. So it just changed from ServiceNow Dev Program Slacker bot to Earl Duque Slacker bot.
So you have your own copy of this.
Yep. So a fork basically means you have your own copy of whatever that repository was that you pressed fork from.
But there's some logic on the GitHub end to connect those two.
And you'll see there's a little tree of forks, and people can go to your app and fork your app, and they'll get a version of yours, which is a version of another one's, etc., etc. When you press fork, it is a snapshot of what the app was at that time. Different people can be updating the main one but those changes won't affect yours because you're working on your own isolated version. If you ever want to sync back up to the parent fork or branch above you, there's a button over here that says sync fork, and you'll see this one. I just forked it, so there's no changes to fetch. But if you ever fall behind the main one, you'll see a little update button there to bring you up to date.
Sync fork. After lunch, I just put a whole bunch of forks in the sink. Does that count?
It does actually. Go ahead and make an app for that. I'm just kidding. Okay, so I have my own version of the app now, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump into my personal developer instance. We're doing this live, so if I get hung up on anything, that's the real world. You can import apps via App Engine Studio or Studio. I'm gonna go to Studio just because I'm much more used to this right now, and I'm gonna import from source control. I'm gonna take the URL of my fork. I'm gonna bring it into here. Behind the scenes, I already have a credential set up from my GitHub. So make sure to make a credential separately if you're following along on here.
Are you using basic or using the personal key, or what? Just out of curiosity, which method did you use for your credentials?
So GitHub updated a year or two ago where you can't do basic authorization anymore. You have to do you have to requisition yourself your own token with certain scopes. And to do that, you're going to go to GitHub and you're going to go to settings, and you're going to find
security. Was it?
Huh?
Was it security?
It was something. Where is it?
Down. Not security log.
It's somewhere here. I can't remember.
Yeah, and once if you look in the documentation, it's real easy to figure out. It's like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, go into your settings somewhere.
I think it's under account.
Oh, account. No, I think
same menu.
And I set up my key.
Don't click delete account.
Huh?
Don't click delete account.
Yeah, I set up my key a while ago, so I don't want to get too.
So you generate one of these tokens. If I remember right, that works as your password, but it's still in ServiceNow. It's still basic auth.
Yes, that's true. So in ServiceNow, it's the basic auth, but it is not the password that you use to log into GitHub.
Right.
It is the password. It is the token that you requisitioned on your GitHub account for this exact purpose, which is great because that means you can have distinct tokens for all your different locations.
All right. So we got the credentials.
And when you're first importing an application, you want to make sure you're grabbing the branch that you intend. So whatever you forked earlier, and I think it was over here.
Usually say.
So it's usually main if you're working with our applications. And I'll show you what to do after this regarding branches in a second. So,
check that closely because sometimes it'll default to master, which is more of a legacy name.
Yeah, a couple of the repos I think that we have projects on still has the branch as master. Most of them say main now. So once you get that information in, go ahead and import it. Yep. Doing it live. Okay, actually, while that's loading, I'm going to show you the next part of it. So I have, can you all see my Slack screen?
Yes.
Yes.
So in the background, I have a separate Slack instance. So this is we call a few of us work on this one in dev for Slack, the Slack workspace. SN dev. That's our Slack. I have gone to api.slack.com and gone to apps, and I've created my own app. Here's the production one, and here's my dev one. When you do your dev one, this actually, when you're working on this repo, you can follow the instructions inside the Slackerbot repo, and we walk you through this. So feel free to peruse through this if you get lost along the way. But you're going to go to Slack API, create a bot, give it the right permissions, and then turn on a bot ID or create a bot for this app. Mm-hmm. And then subscribe it to event subscriptions and turn that on. So that's that those details are inside of the repository too. But I did this in the background so that we would save a little bit of time. And then once I did that, I brought that bot into a channel. So you'll see I made a new channel and I invited the bot, which is this is an old name, ignore the old name of it, but that's the bot I'm working on. And hopefully if I can, yeah, you can see that little Homer Simpson hand holding a donut. That's the same picture.
Really tiny.
Yeah, really tiny. Sorry, my screen's big. Okay, so that's set up. And now I have the application loaded. And I'm going to go to SlackerBot, which is the application name. And to set things up first, I'm going to go to this property, which is described inside of the documentation, SlackerBot token. And I'm going to unshare my screen real quick.
We need the old privacy shrubbery.
I want to go ahead and grab that key while nobody's looking and save it in there.
Why not set that up as like a credential?
I just wanted to make it easier for the application. For people to understand the system properties to go through it faster. Okay, so I have that saved.
If you commit that back to Git, though, it's going to recognize that as a token, and you're going to get a warning saying, "Hey, you've got security information in this repo."
Yeah.
In the documentation, it also reminds people, "Hey, before you commit anything, just unselect your system property from the commit."
Ah, good idea.
Yeah. All right, so I added that token in. Let's see if the tables are. Ooh, I just flashed it on screen. Hold on 1 second. Ironic.
Now you got to go generate a new token.
Yeah, it's a test bot, whatever. So I'm just going to say, hello, world. And I'm going to go to the chat table to make sure it's working. So chat table is what. Yep, there it is. It's already importing the.
Heck yeah.
The chat.
So how's that coming in? Is that a scripted REST API that's listening, or is it a flow with an API? How did that get picked up?
When you install this application, it installs a couple of scripted REST APIs to make the integration very easy to follow along. So all you have to do is take the scripted REST API endpoint for handling events and give it to that event handler inside your Slack API app. And that's where it sends those payloads to, and then it gets parsed here.
Okay.
So one of the other cool things that we included in this one to get people started quickly is if you go to the parser table, let me go to the actual list view. We added this button called Sync Parsers. If you click on this button, it will go to the parent ServiceNow dev program SlackerBot, find all of the active parsers that people have contributed, and then bring it directly into your app automatically. There they are. So now on this new app, we are technically already set up to have Slacker living on a completely different instance. And so if you are following along and you want to implement the Slacker bot or the points thing bot on your own Slack workspace, that's how easy it is. So shout out to Adam who did this one. I can do pull up this. There it is. So we have one parser that says if you type in !xkcd and then a search term, it tries to find that XKCD comic for you and post it into the chat. Silly stuff like the clapback one where it says hello, or we could say hello world. And it converts it to hello clap world. Silly stuff like that. So right away, the Slacker bot's already working with all of the stuff that people have contributed to the sourced repo. So that's a really fun little feature that we have going on here. But now I want to create a new one, and I'm going to see if I can get it to work. And so I'm going to click on new parsers, and I want to create what was I planning? Oh yeah, parrot wave. Actually, let me take a step back. So once you have the app working and the bot working on your own Slack, you might be sitting there like, well, I don't know what to add to this bot. I don't know what to do with it. And one of the things you can do is go to issues and see what some of the things that people are asking everyone to work on. So in this repository, we have a list of things that we were previously working on the old bot, and we need to recreate it now for the new bot. And so uh, I saw this recreate parser for Parrot Wave one, and I want to take that on. And so in the comments, I'll say I'm working on this, so that other people know that you are working on this one. And if a maintainer is watching, they can actually assign that issue to you directly to make sure that nobody else is working on it and duplicating work. So I'm going to recreate the function. And if you don't know what Parrot Wave is, oh, wait, I can't do Parrot Wave on this one because I don't have those emojis on here.
No.
No.
All right.
Do a variant of it, like a smiley.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do a similar one. So luckily I have this old script that I can use, and I'm going to go to we'll say joy on joy. We'll say that. So we're going to post the joy emoji whenever someone says joy. Basically, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to say the activation example is if someone says the word joy at all. And the regex is joy again. That's easy. Or we'll do something like joy. We'll do joy or happy or yay. Sure. And we're gonna do it in global, case insensitive, and multi-line.
Okay. Now your script is calling a new Slack phone.
Yeah.
Where is that?
I'm getting there. This is the old script, so I need to convert this to the new one. I don't need this anymore, and I don't need that anymore. All right, so I don't need to send chat anymore. I just want to send a reaction, and we'll do all the way down to. Okay, we're just gonna do one. So if this is confusing to you, don't worry. Again, it's in the documentation. So let's go back to contributing.md. And down here, there's available APIs and variables and parsers. And this is the meat and potatoes of the repository, because it tells you exactly how to do things. And so if I see down here, send reaction, how to send reactions back to Slack after parsing, this is exactly what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this and note that parameter 1 is a required reference object to the glide record, which should always be current. Param 2 is a string, the name of the emoji to send. And my example is joy, so that's perfect. So I'm going to go back and I'm just going to start from scratch. I'm just going to leave it like this. So param 1 is current. Param 2 is a string joy. I think that might be it. Let me see. All right, let's go back into Slack.
Plenty of examples to look at.
And I'm going to say, like, I'm so happy.
This and wait for it.
Work? Did it work? It didn't work.
Oh, now's when you go check the system logs.
That's why it's live coding happy hour.
So well, first I want to actually see if the outbound went out. It did, and it got a 200, so that's good. That's not anything relevant to this. So let me look at this real quick. Where did that go? Send reaction, current, joy. Let's just make it much easier. Try that again. All right, let's send chat instead and see if this works, because I know that one's been working.
Yeah.
Should say joy back to me. Okay, so that's working. So
Okay, that's good.
It's the reaction API that seems to be hanging up.
Snoozing.
So we can actually verify that by going down to this API. You can right click in and say open definition. And I'm going to go check out the send reaction. So yes, and then the reaction name. Let me make sure if it has, it should have the timestamp. So here's all our chats. So there is a timestamp. You know what? Let's try to trigger it via scripts and see what happens.
You're going to need your current defined.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I like hearing the slight ASMR of the typing, but not too much. Just like a little echo of it.
Love that timestamp, Unix epoch time. Gabby says, Earl, you could have done var gr.
Shut up, Gabby.
Oh, wow.
She follows me around and says that. Say that in jest.
You wait for the next Lady Cody happy hour. We're in trouble.
All right, so hopefully this will work. So send reaction.
Lauren can be our mole for Lady Coding happy hour.
Great. Love that. Love that for me.
Okay, hold on. Well.
It didn't say object.
Oh, I think I know what happened.
Missing scope.
This bot has a different doesn't have the right scope for reactions as the production one does.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's fine. I mean, we know
change that on the Slack side to enable it, or do you have to change that on the ServiceNow side to recognize and ask for it?
It's the Slack side that you have to do that. So you would go to api.slack.com and add that scope to the bot itself so that it can actually send reaction emojis on behalf of the bot itself.
So for clarification for anybody who's wondering, we're not dealing with scopes in the ServiceNow sense of like an app scope. This is the permissions that your API allows whoever's asking. This is a very common thing with REST APIs to say, hey, you are allowed to read the user table, or you are allowed to write to this particular thing. So when you set up an API, you often enable certain, it's almost like a role, a ServiceNow role to a user. This is what you're entitled to do. That's what scopes do for your REST APIs.
So here's some fun background stuff if you're playing with this bot or if you're setting this bot up for your own instance. Notice that it knows to say things inside of a thread if it's in a thread, or outside of a thread if it's in the main channel.
That's cool.
What is hidden in this current object is it's checking for a timestamp and the thread timestamp if it exists, and then pushes there. But say you have a very long message that you want to send, and it would actually be really bad to keep sending it inside the main chat, and you want to automatically push it to the thread. You can actually add on this hidden parameter, third parameter, and if you say that, it will always push to the thread, regardless of if it was in the main channel or not. So that's hidden. That's hidden in there as hidden functionality. Okay, I created a parser, or for instance, you might have added your own business rules to this, or you might have added a way for an additional script include method that you might need working, or you fixed one of the ones I messed up.
Where's the comments?
I know I don't have any. Maybe you added comments for me and made it better.
There's my first pull request, is put some comments in this thing.
So Chuck went in. So say we went in here and we added helpful comments to explain what's going on, what is expected in this the first parameter and the second parameter, etc., which is what I should have done when I first originally created all of this. And now you have changes to that. What you would want to do from here is you would actually go to back into Studio, and you would go to source control, and you would commit these changes. Yeah, Phil, there's a GR here, but remember it's in scope, so it's fine.
So wait a minute, send reaction, you passed it a third argument of true. Where did it?
No, this was on send chat.
Oh, send chat. Okay.
Yeah, send chat up here. So force thread.
Gotcha. Yep, force thread.
Yeah. So once you've done changes that you want to contribute to the repository, you're going to go to source control again and say commit. As a reminder, do not send this file wherever you put your tokens. If GitHub ever recognizes you have a token in a repository that's visible to the public, they will automatically shut your token down. Or any other place like Slack will deactivate the token because they communicate with Git and stuff like that. So don't include those. But I've made a change to the Slacker script include, so I want to include that in here. I'm going to say continue. I'm going to give it a description. Added comments because Earl is a bad developer.
Oh, stop.
I'm going to go ahead and say commit. And let's go look back at my version of that bot. And you'll see here that the commit has been implemented into the repository. One thing I forgot to do because I was running around on the instance is usually it's good to create a new branch when you start working, and you name it something like adding comments. And you create the branch from there and work from that branch. And I'll explain a little bit more why you would want to do that, regardless of the method you're contributing, in a little bit when I run through another example. But now that I have that committed, you'll see, oh, your branch is actually one commit ahead of the main one from production. So now I want to actually say, hey, my version of this app has a cool new feature, or has better documentation, or has a new enhancement or bug fix that I want to include inside ServiceNow Dev Program SlackerBot. What you do from there is make sure you're on the branch that has your changes. So I'm on my branch main of Earl UK SlackerBot. You're just going to go click to this thing called pull request. And pull request, okay, I'm really trying to make sure people understand the terminology too, so that we're not just like running around saying words that we don't know. Think of a repository as something that is sitting in between all of us. Whenever I put new code into my version, it's called push. I'm pushing code into my code base. Commit is the same thing as push. We are used to seeing on GitHub called the word commit, but in the backend they actually call it push. So that's one of the really helpful things to know, so you can understand pull requests. And so whenever I commit something to my version, I'm pushing something in there. A pull request, on the other hand, is that production repository sitting there in the middle of all of us developers. And when I create a pull request, I'm basically saying, hey, I'm requesting that you central app pull my code and push it into yours, into the central repository, so that you can have my updates. So think of it as I'm pushing things into mine, and I'm asking them to pull my code into theirs. That's what a pull request is, and that's how I try to explain it to make it understandable. So
well done.
Thanks. Now that I'm in the pull request UI, one thing you want to make sure is you look at the base repository, and that's where you're pushing things. You'll see this little arrow, like which direction you're wanting things to go. I want to take my stuff and get it pushed into the parent one. And then when you're ready for that, you can actually scroll down too and see what has changed between the two. They'll actually give you a full comparison. When you're doing ServiceNow pull requests with apps that you've pulled into instances, you can ignore this file. This will always change whenever you do a commit in ServiceNow's source control. So ignore that one. But down here, you can see like, oh, here's the exact changes that I did. I added the words, thanks Chuck. So that's cool. I can confirm what is being included before I create a pull request. So I'm going to go ahead and create it. And this one included the my comments from ServiceNow conveniently, so that's great. Leave a more detailed description if it warrants it, and always be as descriptive as you possibly can. And all I'm going to do is just say create pull request. All right, so I'm going to do this real quick. This is how I illustrate to everybody when I do tutorials. I am taking the hat off of being a contributor, and now I'm putting the hat on of being a maintainer. So you're not I always do that illustration so people know that they're not seeing this part. So on the screen right now is the maintainer screen, which is I want to show you all just in case you ever maintain your own repositories for Hacktoberfest or for Git or for source control. So I'm a maintainer of SlackerBot on the main branch or the main fork of ServiceNow Dev Program SlackerBot. And I see, and I actually got emailed probably that there's a new pull request. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the pull request. I'm going to open that up. I'm going to read what they said they're doing. Hopefully there's a good enough description. And I'm going to go to the Files Change tab and see what was changed. And I'm going to say, oh, this is great stuff. Perfect. I want to implement this. And I'm going to, where did I go? And I am going to say merge pull requests. And there's a few different ways to merge it. Just read through which ones you want to do.
Pause. Gabby is screaming at you and in the comments saying, wait, Earl, is that the main branch for SlackerBot, not yours?
Yeah, it's the main branch. I don't really care.
Yes.
I'm not going to approve this pull request. So I'm not going to approve this pull request, but yeah, what did Mark say? Sounds like blog post. Oh yeah, okay. I'll add. I want to post more stuff about GitHub and source control later. But if I'm on the maintaining side, I would merge this pull request, and then once that's merged, anybody that comes to this main repository in the future will now see your changes will be part of this repository. Your name will be added to the contributors list. And anybody that forks from then on will have your code with their repository. So there's the collaboration effort. As different people are contributing, you don't have to worry so much about colliding with each other. And if you are working on the same file or you are working on the same thing that could potentially collide, pull request maintainers will actually be able to see and work on those collisions from here. They can reject one and accept the other. They can do a merging of code on behalf of the people that might have conflicts and stuff like that. All that good stuff is handled inside this interface or via VS Code or any other IDE that you could be using this source control in. I do a lot of my stuff via VS Code instead of this interface, but sometimes I like the UI more than using it in VS Code, so sometimes I come back here to do those things. Okay. Now that those are merged in, what happens to your fork? Well, you can sync it back up to make sure it's reflecting yours if there's more commits ahead. You can create more branches to work on different things. Or you can actually just completely delete this fork and never go back to it because you've already contributed. So it's up to you. But what I want to do now is actually take a step back and try to do that one of the functionalities that I was trying to do earlier, but on the production one, because we've set up this way to be able to contribute much faster into the ecosystem instead of having to pull the entire app into your instance. And that's
real quick, Earl. You'd mentioned branches a minute ago. If you were on your Earl Duque, you created a new branch on your instance and you made your contributions there. When you do a pull request and the maintainer pulls them back into the ServiceNow Dev Program SlackerBot, are they going to get a new branch? Let's say you called it Earl LCHH. Are they going to get a new branch and then they have to do a branch merge?
So you can actually, I'll show you. I'll show you right now.
Okay.
We have time, right? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I'm actually gonna I want to sync. You know, I'm gonna start over. We joked around this on the Hacktoberfest thread. I'm gonna go ahead and completely delete this fork, just so I can show you from the beginning. Make sure it's the right one. So not the production one. Whoa, it didn't even ask me to two-factor. Weird.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I deleted it.
Are you really sure? Should have come up.
It's too late now. All right, here it is. It's still alive. Don't worry. All right, so I'm going to refork. And I'm going to create a new branch because I want to do all of my work within this interface itself. So I'm going to create a new branch, and I'm going to say Chuck Bowtie.
Can you have spaces?
It actually converts to dashes if you have spaces automatically. So I have a new branch called Chuck Bowtie, and I'm going to make a change to this. I'm going to add a new parser. And what we did here is that if you create a new parser in here following a certain template and it gets merged into the production branch, it will automatically upload into the bot from here without ever having to go into ServiceNow, and it becomes live immediately. So I'll try to demonstrate that now.
That's crazy.
I'm going to go back to the documentation and copy a template real quick. I'm going to name this Bowtie when Chuck mentioned.
So this is not your standard XML file from a ServiceNow unload.
No, this is just a pure JavaScript file, and as long as you follow the template, it'll work. So the activation will be at Chuck Tomasi as an example. And the regex itself, this is where I'm going to need to go into Slack real quick and
get the original.
Yeah, give me 1 second. People are messaging me and I don't want to accidentally show people.
Docs them.
Okay, so I'm in the Slacker Dev public channel, and I'm going to actually just say Chuck real quick. Send this message without notifying him. Okay, so I sent this payload, and I'm going to go to, I want to see what that looks like inside of the actual instance. So that chat table, remember? One day when it loads. Chats, and it should have it. There's me, and here it is. So that's what it looks like. And then I'm going to go to regexer to make sure I know what to parse.
Just reminds me of your TikTok, girl.
So actually good. None of these have to be escaped. None of these have to be escaped. Oh yeah, the regex TikTok. All right, so cool. So none of those actually have to be escaped. All right, here we go. So the regex itself can just be that. And I'll leave it as just a global one. And then I've tested this, so it should work. And I'm going to put, where is it? This right here, the send reaction one that wasn't working earlier. Hopefully this will work. Current. And Chuck's, do you know the name of your emoji? What is it?
I think it's calling Bowtie calling.
Chuck.
Oh, that one.
Chuck.
I didn't know that one existed.
Oh my gosh, there's so many Chuck. There's a bunch of Chuck.
Oh my goodness.
And whose fault is that?
I don't know who made all of those. You have so many of those emojis in there.
You're gonna have to start charging a license fee.
All right, so remember, I'm on my own repository. According to the documentation, this should work. I'm gonna commit this file to my branch. And what you were asking earlier, Chuck, is what if you're trying to do a pull request, and yours has a main branch also, and yours has a there's different ways to do it. Some people will do a merge to their main first, and then do a pull request to the main to the parent one. Yep. But if you just go in here and go to pull requests and say open a new pull request and compare, it will automatically say, hey, your main branch is the same as your your new branch. So we're just going to skip it. We're going to guess that you want to go all the way up to the main one. And so you'll see it skip that middle step of the main branch on my own repository. And now I'm actually creating a merge or a pull request into the production branch. And I'm going to create that pull request. And I'm going to go back to the host instance and show you all. Right now we have 11. And I am going to merge this now into production. And so we'll give it a second to think. And if you don't know what the Actions tab is on GitHub, it's all the automations that people have built into their repositories on GitHub. And so you'll see that I have a few different automations running in the background to get these things working. But it says it's done. So let's go back to the production table and refresh that. And it should be 12, which it is. And so now that my pull request has been approved, it automatically went into the production instance. Where is it? Bowtie.
So you didn't have to go into Studio and say pull.
No.
Or receive, what it was.
Yeah. So to make it easier for people to see their contributions become live right away, there was a big stopgap in previous years where even if we merge your stuff in, it might not actually affect a production instance because we would have to go into Studio, do a pull, verify that no tokens were messed up. We verify all these different things. And it was a big wait, like a big step that you had to wait to see results because it required one of us that were admins on an instance to be able to get your stuff actually into the application. But via some clever GitHub automation, right when that pull request was merged in, it created this record on that table remotely. And so now that that's there, we'll even verify it's here on the main production answer. Yep, there it is. Let's try to make it. Let's see if it does it.
Our moment of truth.
Doink.
There it is.
There we go. Way to go. Nice work.
Now we can finally, this is why I wanted to do this one. Now I can finally disable that freaking auto message whenever someone says Chuck's name. And now it's just a react, so it's less intrusive.
That is a brilliant.
Now if I can remember how to do that.
You don't like the one with the crabby face with the bow tie?
It just takes up so many lines.
No, I know.
It's like, here's my message, and all this stuff, and here's the reply, and all this stuff.
You get, Rrr!
Oh, I see. And it's randomizing. So that's why the first one was Chuckle. This one was Bowtie. But if someone wants to go in here and modify my file, you can actually go into, go make your own fork, go into parsers, go into Bowtie when Chuck is mentioned, and edit this and make it like a math random to determine which one shows up and add all the other ones in here, and it will do a reaction instead of a full response, which takes up a lot more space. But yeah, the send reacts work. So now if I wanted to do the parrot wave, I could probably do it here, but I don't want to keep taking up more of that time because I showed all the examples that I wanted to show on here.
Very good.
That's phenomenal.
It's one of the things I want to shout out to also is make sure or jump to go to the Hacktoberfest channel and join us there. There's a bunch of us talking about what's going on with Hacktoberfest, and then from there in the header in the topic list, you can actually see all the links to the other channels that are relevant, like the Slacker channel and the Points Thing channel and the Code Snippets channel. This is where if you have any questions or are confused about anything, jump in here, jump into Hacktoberfest channel, and we'll try to work with you to figure those things out. But yeah, so code snippets, adding to this parsers folder, these are the ways that are much easier to contribute without having to do a full application pull and integration and stuff like that. So if you want to contribute to the community, these are easy ways to do it. Whew, I just realized I basically spoke for like 50 minutes straight.
Yeah, you're killing it today. That's amazing.
You got it done. Well done.
That was success too. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quarter point added to whatever you're drinking.
Yes.
Which is a good time to go around and rate our drinks.
Oh, was there any other comments or anything that popped up?
Mark had one. I'm just going to find that real quick. He said, what does that skip do in the checksum file? In the day, a merge would lock everything if the checksum changed.
Yeah, so Mark is hollering back at how source control used to be in ServiceNow, which was a nightmare, straight up a nightmare. In back in the day, I don't know how long ago, maybe 3 years ago or so, whenever you would do GitHub source control or Git source control with your scoped applications, if you changed anything inside that file, it would
Night night.
render your repository useless.
Yeah, the checksum and the contents of the rest of the repo
Yep.
had to stay in sync. In
Had
fact,
to
there was
stay in
something in the
sync.
README that said "Do not touch under penalty of death" or something.
Yeah, but they knew that was a problem, and they eventually fixed it, which is a good thing. Now what a great benefit that we have to that is now if you go into a repository, this repository, like I did earlier, I was able to bring this entire thing into my ServiceNow instance as an application, but still provide better documentation, provide a contributing file, provide additional file with workflows behind it, on top of the normal ServiceNow generated XML files. So that's one of the great benefits of being able to not have to sync the checksum. But yeah, that's harkening back to some old school ServiceNow quirks with integrate source control. So that's not a problem anymore, which is really nice. That means we can make changes in GitHub without having to go into ServiceNow to fix things.
Corey wants to know what's on your display in the background.
Oh, it's a Pixum, Pixoom.
Oh, I've
Casey
heard of
Beck.
those.
It cycles through all my interests. So there's Lego, Marvel, Minecraft. There's some old Pokemon stuff in there. That's playing guitar, Nintendo 64. The GitHub cat is on there too. So you'll see the GitHub cat pop up.
Nice.
There it is. Perfect timing.
Kitty.
Yeah.
I have something similar over here. I think it's called the Tidbit with like BYT. It was a Kickstarter, and it's a very similar thing.
Yeah, I just upload pixel graphics via my phone.
Nice.
It's X-Wing, my favorite one.
Oh yeah.
Thanks. Corey, you're the first person that has like noticed or said something about it
on this show.
Yeah, on this show.
We've had a few in Zoom calls, internal Zoom calls, where people go, "What is that?" That's cool.
But to sum everything up again, Hacktoberfest, participate. A lot of people are jumping in. Get that t-shirt.
Yeah.
Get that bragging rights.
You'll be smarter and thankful for it at the end of the month.
Mm-hmm. A lot of things in ServiceNow are starting to use source control, so it's a good time to learn.
Other announcements. Call for content for CreatorCon 23 is coming up at Knowledge. It's coming up, so start thinking about what you may want to present. All you need at this point is like a title and an abstract. Okay, start crafting that. We will be doing the open office hours. There's the URL. It's live now, I believe. Yes?
Mm-hmm. It went live this morning.
Okay, so you can register. You can read it. So the call for content is coming up. So
a lot more time than last year. A lot more heads up than last year.
Yeah. We've also got, what else have we got? Other announcements. What am I forgetting?
Nothing off the top of my head.
Breakpoint coming up next week. Next Friday is another Breakpoint Wednesday. So podcast coming out with Michael Miner on pre-built integration solutions and pre-built automation solutions. So look for that. If you're not already, it's devlink.sn/breakpoint. You can get it automatically delivered to you. Correction. I think we took a dash out of it.
I got the link wrong. It's actually CC23 CFC.
CreatorCon 23 call for content.
Mm-hmm.
There's also this, Chuck.
There's also karaoke. Yes, we have our first digital karaoke happening in about 2.5 hours. We've got a number of people that have already signed up and registered for that. Look for my post on LinkedIn. You'll see it. It's pretty easy. It's got me and Gabby rocking out at Knowledge. You can get registered. I will send you the invite because you need the Zoom link and the karaoke party info to get into that. There's a complete TLDR email that goes along with that in the invite. So hopefully everybody's read that. We'll have some fun with that, giving this a try. If it works, we'll do more in the future. I know it's not time zone friendly to everybody. Some people are about to turn in. Some people aren't even awake yet. Some people just woke up. So we will do more at time zone friendly based on the success of this one. So looking forward to doing that in a couple hours. It's not just me singing, it's everybody else. This is going to be like you get on Zoom and you're going to be a rock star. Unless you just want to, hang out and give people 1 to 5 star ratings and watch the show. That's fine too. You're welcome to be an audience.
Sweet. Oh, drinks.
Drinks.
Oh, drinks.
I actually didn't take a single sip of my drink.
Oh, you were going like a freight train that whole time.
So 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
Sure.
Lauren?
I mean, it's hard to beat Diet Coke. You know what's really crazy is I'm one of the weirdos, not weirdos. I'm one of the people that is a Pepsi girly. I'm not usually a Coke girly. However, so I'll give this one like a 4, so 4.5 because Earl succeeded today.
Way back when I was still on caffeine, I used to be a Pepsi guy through high school and college, and then I switched over to Coke somewhere during
Caffeine
my work
free.
days.
You just need that brown label.
Yeah. Okay, I'll still pass. My last beer of the season for a while, the Zwiek. As I had to ask Grantis, he's from Lithuania, which is nearby Poland. So I stuck my head out the window before the show started. Hey, how do you pronounce this beer you bought me? And he went, give me an estimate. So, good. It says session IPA. This is not a hoppy killer beer like a lot of American IPAs. So I really like this. Going down easy. I'm going to give this a 4.5 also.
Way to go.
So it even has a price tag on the cap, $3.59. So not the cheapest thing, but a little larger. It is half a liter, which is a good size. So thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. Thank you, everybody who's watching this later. Hopefully you got something out of it. And look forward to seeing what you contribute to our GitHub repos for Hacktoberfest. And we will have some updates if you stay in the Slack channel. Hang out there. We'll tell you how it's going. Earl's got a pretty high bar to hit from last year with the code snippets and documentation updates and all kinds of stuff that was going on last year. So let's see if we can beat that record for him. Till then,
we want quality over quantity this year.
That's true. Quality. The page is going chug. Yeah, I did not finish. So I have to finish the show. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Earl, for doing the massive driving and the success on that one. So till next time, everybody, take care. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.